To see how all of this translates into the real world, people who actually sell things and make money and provide our economy with its substance. Shawn Askinosie, we've seen him before. He left his law practice to launch his own entrepreneurial business 3 years ago, Askinosie Chocolate. He joins us once again from Kansas City, Missouri, to get a small business perspective on the Fed and the stimulus plan. Well, it's small business now, but Shawn, we hope and expect your business to be huge very soon. But tell us exactly, we had this Fed cut today. We have a stimulus package in the works. Does any of that affect your business?
You know, David, here's what I want. I want a package where the government is going to get together and think about how they can leave my business alone. So I don't need a stimulus package.
That's a novel idea, Shawn. You think you'll get that?
Well, I mean, I appreciate the fact that they're thinking of me, but I would rather them try to figure out how they can make my business life easier. You know, I'm buying beans from farmers in South America and Mexico, and when as a manufacturer and as a chocolate maker, I have to look at three things when I'm looking at whether or not I'm in a recession and what kind of help I need. Just like any manufacturer, the first thing, I've got to buy raw materials. I've got to buy inventory. So what do you do if you think there's going to be a problem there? You develop a relationship with your suppliers. So that's what I've done by profit sharing with these guys. I go down there and visit with them. I don't see a problem in raw materials. So the second thing I've got to do is I got to make chocolate. And that's what we're doing. And in the last 3 weeks, my business has doubled its workforce, not in administrative, but in the production side. So that's the second thing. I don't see a problem there. There's not a red flag for me there. And the third and final thing is I've got to sell chocolate. Now, there could be a problem, but what you've got to do as a small business is you have to find the answer to the question, is there going to be a recession in my industry? And if so, what do I do to make it recession-proof? So here's what we did. Next Friday, this coming Friday, we are going to fulfill our largest order to date. And it's international, and it's going to Sweden. Now, what's the big deal about that? The big deal is we're taking advantage of a falling dollar. So the Europeans now are going to have access to great chocolate, and they're going to get it at a great value. And that's what business needs to be doing, not sitting around writing their congressman. We need to be thinking of ways to innovate and take advantage of what looks like a problem and turn it into an opportunity.
But your idea of the best stimulus plan is one that would just get the government out of your way.
I need them to get out of the way. I'm in favor of economic social justice for the people who need that. I am in favor of that. But I need them to leave me alone. The Fed rate cut is fine. It's going to help with a little bit of cash flow. But here's the thing. If you think that this is the Titanic and that it's going down, which I don't believe that, at least for me and my business, but if you think that, this is rearranging the deck chairs. And it's not, I mean, it's not going to help. It's like the soldier on the front line, fighting hand-to-hand combat, being told by his superiors that, hey, the supplies are coming, but they're going to be here in 90 days.
But you bring such a fresh approach to all this, which is simply, you're not asking for a handout. You're not asking for super lower rates from the Federal Reserve. You're just simply asking these guys in D.C. to make your job easier by clearing the decks, by making the government go away.
That's right. That's what I need them to do on both sides of the equation. Make it easier for me to import these beans and help these farmers in developing countries, and make it easier for me to export this product. Hey, Friedman was right. The world is flat. And we need to be able to take advantage of that, and the government needs to help us by getting out of the way.
Okay. Can you stay with us, Shawn? We want to bring in our panel as well to talk about this. Tracy Burns of Fox Business, Jack Howe of Smart Money Magazine, Evelyn Rusley, markets reporter at Forbes.com. Tracy, it's so refreshing to hear Shawn talk, isn't it?
This whole, if life gives you lemons, make lemonade or margaritas, whatever.
And he's not asking for a handout. And I suspect most of the people, whether they're businesses producing things or consumers, they're not asking for a handout. They want government to make their life a little easier. Maybe that's, in some cases, just clearing government out of the way.
But I mean, he's the perfect example of why this stuff just doesn't work. It just makes life more complicated. Allow these businesses to do their jobs. You know what? Give them a depreciation break. Give them tax cuts where they deserve it. But this whole notion of a handout, you're right. We're spending deficit money.
You mentioned tax cuts. Shawn, what about that? Are you encouraged that there's some talk, at least, of lowering taxes?
I'm encouraged by it, but it's not going to. I'm not going to sit around in a meeting tomorrow and talk with the people at my factory about a tax cut.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not something that it's not going to affect my current cash flow. It's not going to affect my financial statement right now. I appreciate it. I thank them for it, but I'm not going to make a buying decision. I'm not going to go out and buy equipment because they're talking about a tax cut.
And Christy, I saw you in the background. I mean, the thing is that politicians so often say, we created so many jobs and we've turned the economy around. It's not them. It's people like Shawn.
Well, what I thought was one of the most interesting things that Shawn said was talking about his Swedish deal. And one of the things that we are seeing happening with the weak U.S. dollar, a positive side effect, is we are seeing U.S. exports really strengthening, and that's a positive. The big question, which Shawn's point raises, is if the rest of the world economy holds out, if the Swedes are still able to buy Shawn's chocolate, then America is going to be okay. If we see the weakening that we're seeing in the U.S. economy spread to Europe, things are going to be a little trickier.
Well, Shawn, you got orders. I don't know. Are they related to Valentine's Day? I don't know if they celebrate the same day we do in Sweden.
Hey, you know, that's the great thing about it. It's not related to Valentine's Day at all, and these guys are going to be ordering every quarter from us. We're having a party at the factory on Friday, a Swedish party. We're flying the Swedish flag. We're going to have Swedish pancakes with chocolate on it, and I hope next month we have a German party and a French party the month after that.
We should shut down the United Nations and just let you speak for the world. You're bringing the world together. But Evelyn, this is the point, is that it's folks like Shawn, it's the workers, it's the producers who really, frankly, couldn't care less what the government is doing as long as they don't make their life more complicated.
Exactly. It shows how ineffective the stimulus package will be. I mean, everyone's going to be happy with a few tax cuts. Sure, you know, they'll take it. But at the end of the day, it's not really going to do very much.
So, Jack, you know, there's an edict for doctors, at the very least, do no harm. Do you think at the very least this package from Washington will do no harm?
I think if it fails, it'll be waste, and if it works, it'll be worse. You know, you want to use a physician analogy. This is like someone applying the shock paddles to a patient who is quietly recovering from the flu. I wish I was a politician and not a writer, because a writer has to look at facts, and a politician just has to make a room full of people cheer. If I'm a politician right now, I say, I'm going to give you free money, I'm going to lower your borrowing costs, and I'm going to get your house price rising. If I'm looking at facts as a writer, I have to say, the money isn't free. It's coming out of your left pocket and going into your right.
Is Adam Shapiro still there?
Still here, David.
Adam, you know, do the folks in Washington listen to folks like Shawn ever?
No. Unfortunately, they don't. And, you know, it's
that.
interesting because you talk about Shawn and you look at the GDP numbers we got today, and although exports were down a little bit over third quarter, that really is what everyone's counting on to keep this economy going. And he is perfect, you know, the way he describes it. But the bottom line for the government and for what we're experiencing is you got to stop spending when you have massive debt. It's as simple as that.
Shawn, I want to give you the last word just because you're an inspiration not only to all of us, but hopefully somebody inside the Beltway is listening. What can they do to make your job easier?
Well, the first thing they can do, I mean, I appreciate the stocking stuffer, but if they really want to give me a gift, then they need to do away with the tax code. I mean, they need to make some real change. That's the kind of stuff that's going to help me. And the other thing they can do is revamp the way they do Homeland Security and Customs. That's going to make it easier for small business. Yeah. And that's the thing. That's the message I have to small businesses tonight. Look, you can do it. You can be innovative. You can think of ways to take advantage of what look like problems. And that's the idea. Don't waste time writing your congressman. That's what I want to tell people.
All right, boy, we're going to leave it on that uplifting message. Shawn Askinosie, very good to see you here. Christia Freeland, good to see you as well. Tracy, Jack, and Evelyn, we'll see you later.